Alright, so today I'm going to clean the carburetor on this TTR230. I was riding the other day and I was giving it gas and it just was not responding to the gas whatsoever. The bike was running, but when I would twist the throttle, it wouldn't give it gas. Eventually, it would start, it would do it for a while and then it would just work fine again. So I don't know exactly what it was. I was switching back and forth between reserve and just on. Sometimes I would have to switch it to reserve and that would fix the problem. Sometimes I would switch it to just fuel being on and that would fix the problem. Sometimes it wouldn't do it at all. Sometimes I would just be stuck, not moving at all, twisting the throttle. But it was only from trying to, when I was in neutral at a stop, clicking in the first gear and then taking off. Once I was already going, it was no problem, but this was from idle to moving. So I think it might be the carburetor might need some cleaning. So I'm going to open this up and check it out. Alright, so the first thing you want to do here is empty your float bowl. Well, you want to turn your gas off, of course, on the petcock. Turn gas off and then empty the float bowl by removing that one screw right there. I can't hold the flashlight and do this, but the screw's right there. Just do that. I have a hose connected to it, coming to a gas tank. Drain the gas out, and then we're going to remove the carburetor. Removing the carburetor is pretty simple. You're just going to take, there's a throttle cable right here. It's hard to hold this flashlight and do this at the same time, but there's a throttle cable right there. Alright, and you're just going to disconnect this hose. There's a clamp going around that hose, and then there's a clamp going around that hose. So you're going to disconnect both clamps, and then the carburetor will slide right out of there. So let me do that, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, one thing I forgot is usually it helps to take the gas tank off here. So right now I just have the two blue side panels removed. They're very easy to remove. It was one screw up here, and then once you also have to take these bolts off back here, because these bolts are what holding the seat. So once you get the seat off, you'll see that there's two more bolts here, and that's how you get these plastics off, okay? And they're also attached to the gas tank with little pins, but you'll figure it out. But anyway, then once you get the gas tank exposed, boom, just remove that strap, and then there's a nut right there. Alright, under there. There's the nut. Okay, and then as soon as you do that, you take the gas tank off, and the carburetor is more easily accessible. And also, where's it at? You want to remove the line attaching the petcock to the carburetor here. All right, gas tank's off. Carburetor is out. I left the hoses in place. Carburetor's out. The reason I took the gas tank off, I remember, is because it's easier to access the two throttle cables right here. Okay, so you just kind of loosen the nuts up on the two throttle cables, and just remove them from the carburetor. So, got the carburetor here. I'm gonna open it up, float bolt side. Now I remember last time these bolts were a pain in the ass, so I replaced them with Allen head bolts. Alright, so there's 4 bolts here. I replaced them with Allen bolts and new lock washers in there because the ones last time were all stripped out, and I think that's a common problem that people have with these carburetors. I've read it on a lot of forums that these bolts get stripped out very easily, so it might not be a bad idea to replace them the first time you ever take apart a carburetor with these new Allen head bolts. Alright, so let me open this up and then we'll take a look inside. Alright, so I got the carburetor opened up. I'm going to remove these jets right here. One, and then there's one down in there. See if I can shine a flashlight on there, so you can see in there. Right down in there, you see? Right in there. There's your one jet, and here's your other one. So I'm going to remove this one. Gets taken off with a wrench. That one is a flathead screwdriver. So let me pull them out, and then we'll take a look and see what they look like. Alright, so I got my 2 jets removed. This is my main jet. That looks pretty good. You see that hole? Still going to spray some carb cleaner in there, but the pilot jet. This one looks a little gummed up inside there. Can't really see through it. You should be able to see through that, so I'm going to spray some carb cleaner in there, and maybe even take an old guitar string and run that through there just to clear out that passageway. So I cleaned out all these holes on the side, and I just sprayed carb cleaner all up in there. It's hard to see with the camera, but there is a better view. See it right there. You can see through it. Oh, just like that. So that's a free passageway now. Alright, so it's all back together. I just kind of cleaned out that main jet there, and with carb cleaner, and I sprayed the pilot jet out. I didn't remove the actual floats, and I cleaned the needle. The inside of the carburetor looked pretty clean, so I just the main jet actually, the pilot jet kind of looked a little gunked up inside there, but that could have just been my imagination. But I did spray some stuff in there, and I kind of ran a little guitar string through there, so hopefully that kind of fixed something, but overall the carburetor looks pretty clean on the inside. So put it back together and see how it runs. Oh, and don't forget, I don't know if you watched my mod video, but I do have the larger size jets. I do have the size 38 pilot jet and the size 130 main jet. Okay, because I have the aftermarket exhaust over here. Or if you just remove the baffles, or if you don't even do anything, everyone says to just kind of upsize on the jets, because if you're running a TTR right now and it takes 10 minutes for it to finally be warmed up, so you don't have to, so you can finally run it with the choke off, the larger size jets completely fix that. From the factory, TTRs, everyone on forums say that they run too lean, so upsizing the jets to the sizes that I'm using kind of just fixes everything. But if you're going to do anything to your exhaust, you definitely want to do it. But if you want to just leave it stock and you want it, to just run the way it's supposed to, larger size jets is recommended. But let me put this back together and see how it runs. Alright, so I got the carburetor back on the bike. First startup, just make sure I did everything. Okay, so I connected the fuel line back again. The fuel line, which I initially took off coming out of the petcock, I took that out of the, disconnected it from the carburetor, so that is reconnected again. Both hoses are connected, or, the carburetor's back securely in between both hoses with both of these clamps tightened down. Throttle cables are back in place. That's why I had to, I probably could have gotten away with, actually nah, you have to take the gas tank off to comfortably get to these throttle cables. So the throttle cables are back in place. Make sure when you're taking the throttle cables off, you only undo the top nut. You don't do the bottom one, because the bottom one sets where the play is at. So you just loosen up the top one. The one that's further in that direction, okay? Loosen up that nut, and that'll keep your throttle play the same. So everything's back together. I'm going to put it back onto fuel on. Turn choke out. Where was I? Alright, I am in neutral. Let me hear how this thing starts up. everything's off now. Throttle seems nice and responsive. Alright, so it seems to be running good again. Or it was running like that, but the throttle seemed very responsive now. Normally it doesn't take that long with the choke out with the new jets. I mean, even that was way faster than stock jetting. But still, normally when this bike's cold, you only need the choke on for literally 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or whatever. And when I say cold, it's stored in my basement, but you know, it hasn't been ran in a while. You only need the choke on for like 10 seconds or whatever, then you can turn it off. But that's just because it was completely drained of gas. Choke needed to be on for about 30 seconds. But yeah, we'll see how it is. I'm gonna go out riding Sunday, and we'll see if the problem still persists. So that's that. You know, if I left anything out, hit me up, because I'm kind of new to this. You know, I've cleaned carburetors before, but I'm no pro. So just figured I'd make a video of it, because there isn't that many videos for TTR230s. So with that said, have a good one.